Greetings and welcome to the World Numismatic News' Lincoln Pennies Date by Date. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the 1910 coins, which is only the second year of issue, but also the first full year of production for the Lincoln penny. With the teething problems of the coin's launch date largely out of the way, the mint could now get down to the business of striking coins full scale. And so they did, as by the end of the 1910 production run, the Philadelphia Mint alone had delivered 146,801,218 business strike coins, a new single-year production record for the denomination since the mint first started striking pennies in 1793. This is in some part due to modernization, as the mint installed automated feeding tubes for the new coin presses at all three working mints. Now, in order to meet these high production targets, the mint bought bronze blanks from outside contractors in order to supplement the ones produced in-house. Because quality control for these planchets were not necessarily as high as they would be for some of the higher denominations, you might find slight color variations in the coins from this issue. In total, the mint bought 408,000 pounds of bronze planchets from outside contractors at a cost of $96,394.93. And in case you were wondering, that is enough to make approximately 59,506,000 pennies. So really less than half of the total mintage for that year. In general though, this issue is very well made, with both obverse and reverse details being extremely well struck up for most coins. If you really want to nitpick, then in some cases, Lincoln's lower portrait, especially the shoulder, can be a bit soft or poorly defined, but this can easily be put down to actual die state rather than strike quality, which is, well, that's a debate for a much different video. So, moving on. The coin is available in most grades today, even moving up to, say, MS65 red level, after which it does become conditionally rare. In circulating grades, though, the coin is cheap, to put it plainly. Anything under an AU grade is worth less than $5 each, while an AU level coin should command around $15 to $30. Even an MS64 red coin rarely breaches the $100 level, with MS65 red coins starting at around double that amount and increasing sharply from there as the population numbers drop. The record was set in 2018 when an MS67 Plus red graded example from PCGS was sold at auction for $10,868. So similar to the 1909 Lincoln pennies, the 1910 cent was once again only minted at the Philadelphia Mint and a single branch mint, that being San Francisco. The 1910 S penny is considerably scarcer than its Philadelphia counterpart, with a mintage of only 6,045,000 coins, making it, in this case, a semi-key date for the series. And again, color variations are considered the norm for this issue, and coins are generally very well struck. So, getting a coin with fully struck up details in a pleasing color tone shouldn't pose much of a challenge, although they are quite a bit more expensive due to the lower mintage. This is not to imply that the 1910 S cent is actually scarce though, as it is obtainable in most grades, with lower circulating coins starting from around $20 per coin upwards, although with a bit of bargain hunting and a willingness to accept perhaps a damaged coin or a less attractive coin, you could be able to get it for even cheaper. Almost uncirculated coins should be in the vicinity of around $75 each, with an MS63 to MS64 red graded coin reaching around the $150 to $250 mark. During 2017, an MS67 red graded example from PCGS was sold at a Fort Lauderdale auction for $18,800. What some collectors might not be aware of is that the 1910 issue also saw the release of a proof penny as well, but it is not the typical proof coin that you might expect. Instead, it is what the mint called a matte proof, although to be honest, satin proof might have been a more accurate description of the coin's actual finish. You see, unlike the matte proof gold coins of the same era, which were basically sandblasted after they were minted to give them their Roman gold texture, these coins' finish was imparted directly from the dies. The working proof dies were actually very slightly sandblasted to give them a very fine grain, what's been described as a crystalline texture that is unique to these matte-proof pennies. Now, much like the matte-proof gold coins though, the matte-proof pennies were not at all popular with the average collector at the time of release. The biggest concern voiced by collectors at the time was that it simply didn't look like a proof coin. By example, the coin on your left is a mint state 1910 penny, and the one on your right is an example of a matte proof coin of the same issue. The difference is not always obvious. Most collectors chose to skip these matte-proof coins at the time of release, as they just didn't like them. As a result, there are quite few of these coins left today, and by complete contrast, they are quite sought after. With a mintage of only 4,043 coins, the 1910 matte-proof Lincoln cent is by far the most plentiful of the matte-proof cents, which the mint did stubbornly continue to issue up until 1916. The color of these coins can also vary vastly, but that's a whole discussion all unto itself as well. So suffice to say that the brown graded matte proof 1910 pennies can be worth around $500, with red graded specimens on average being closer to the $1,500 mark at the proof 65 level. Higher grades are naturally worth more, and as a proof 67 plus red graded specimen from PCGS was sold at the 2018 ANA World's Fair of Money for $31,200. The San Francisco Mint once again used Type 1 mint mark style, also known as the blocked serif S, due to the larger block-shaped and parallel serifs on the S. This mint mark is also characterized by a notch of sorts on the upper serif and a small defect on the punch itself that left a small dot in the upper loop of the S. This is the same mint mark style used for the 1909 S penny as well. In terms of varieties, it is a small miracle that there aren't more to speak of, given the massive mintage figure for the period. There are 3 notable varieties though that are worth a mention, all of which come to us by way of the San Francisco Mint in the form of repunched mint marks. The first is a simple S over S variety where the initial S was placed too low on the coin and had to be repunched closer to the date, giving us a nice clear secondary S directly to the south of the lower loop. A very obvious variety that you should be able to spot with minimal effort. A coin like this was sold at auction during 2014, housed in a PCGS slab with a grade of VF25 for $187. Mint state or higher graded examples of this variety are genuinely rare. Then the second variety is then the polar opposite of the one just discussed, with the mint mark doubled this time towards the north, where the final placement was slightly to the south, leaving doubling on the lower serif as well as on the upper loop, which is again very clear and quite unmistakable. This variety is quite a bit more popular than the first one and should be easier to locate or sell if you come across one yourself. The auction record for this type was set in 2018 when an MS67 red graded coin from PCGS was sold for $19,200. Now, remember the discussion about the mint mark style for the 1910s penny from a little earlier on, as this is where that becomes important. The third variety that we'll be looking at is one that I believe deserves a lot more recognition than it currently receives, although in recent years more people have become aware of it. It is the 1910 inverted S over inverted S repunched mint mark variety. So in this coin, the initial mint mark was punched onto the die inverted or upside down, making this, certainly as far as I'm aware, the only uncorrected inverted repunched mint mark on a Lincoln penny. So okay, I hear what you're asking. How do we know if the S is upside down? After all, it is an S. It looks the same either way, only it really doesn't. Remember that small defect in the punch? Well, here we can see that it is in the lower loop instead of the upper loop. The notch in the upper serif can also be seen here in the lower serif. There are other small differences as well, but for the purposes of this video, I think you get the point. The repunched mint mark is evidence to the right of the lower loop, where it is either doubled completely or is simply thicker than it really should be, depending on the coin's grade. The lower serif is also very nicely notched, which is a far more reliable indicator in my experience. Unfortunately, neither PCGS nor NGC recognize this variety as of yet, but Anarchs or some of the more smaller grading companies might. Due to its relatively unknown status, it should incur a small premium over the normal 1910s coins in most cases. Let me know if you have any of these 1910 pennies in your collection, and if so, be sure to check that you might not have one of the discussed varieties. You never know. Feel free to have a look at the rest of the videos in this series as well, and if you like this, then subscribe to WNN and activate the little bell icon to receive notifications of any new videos. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a great day.